And that's what's important, right? Is having that reach and that ability to tailor the message towards the platform that the consumer is seeing it on. I'd like to talk, a little bit about our partnership with you, right, Mazda, and how we've been evolving as time goes on. We really started as a video ad server. So a lot of the core sort of 1.0 beliefs that were very much added on to what, you as a brand has already produced. Like oftentimes a 15 or a 30-second ad, and we'll add in supers in the form of second sort of module here, right, where it says messaging. That might be a competitive message for an auto versus a more, let's call it aid message versus somebody who's out of market. We then talk about, what is that more, let's call it call to action. And in the case of the 1.0 world, it was oftentimes an offensive or a product image, right? And then the powerful piece that is also this where to buy and why now, right? So showing the consumer their closest retailer or the closest store to just that product in. Some examples you see are very clear and very clean, right? It's talking about a 0% off, $100, right? I'd be showing that local map where it is nearest. Some examples of that include, you guys on all that feedback?
Yeah.
So some examples of that are really shown here, and as we play these, you'll start to see that the creative was very beautiful. It had a lot of imagery, but it didn't necessarily talk about the specifics, right? Somebody who's interested in the design elements of this vehicle, we've added on supers that call out particular wood and where the leather was from, and sort of heightening that experience to somebody who's interested in design. Is that too much on the background noise? Yeah, good. So then another example that is really showing this, right? So looking at somebody who's interested in technology, right, versus somebody who might be interested in the safety features. As this plays, you'll notice that we call out the blind spot detection, right, or the lane, right, notifying you that a car is coming up quickly on your tail. There's certain elements of the creative that we've done. We've essentially again, that create something that resonates with the consumer. That was great, and we always like to tell the story of our progression, right? Moving from just a video ad server to moving into a media provider, and then understanding that there's limitations with the creative too, moving into this that we advanced storytelling, and it's sort of our 2.0 phase of IVU creative. And what it really centers around is this human first approach, right? So, a lot of the times in the past, what a lot of brands, and you're very familiar with this, right? It was always the lowest common denominator, and we wanted to, essentially figure out the message that's going to speak to the broadest set of a segment, right? And that was done because of the way that we bought media, television, probably most specifically. But nowadays, even with media, with addressable TV, that's now, data enabled, and we believe that, every brand should speak to the differences versus those commonalities. Just at a very, very high level, you have Samar, who's on the far left side of this screen, right? He's a loyalist based on CRM information that we have on file. But then we also know that he's very much interested in technology. He's as is here, a vegan as well as a computer engineer. We like to call out that Matt, the far right of this slide, was, also a loyalist by CRM, right? So we know that just at a very high segment level standpoint, very similar. But when you look down more specifically at other attributes, we see he's very interested in this. So let's maybe talk less about the technology elements and about, the design of the vehicle, right? He's also single. He's in ad tech. I think those things are probably less important right from a personalization standpoint, but you'll see them about later. Whereas the Williams, we always like to call them out because, understanding the auto world really well, we all understand that people who are out of market historically haven't been messaged, and that, now can change. We know that family, there's people coming in and out of market often, right? Their children might be, 16 in 2 years, and we should be starting that accolades-based message to